Last Tuesday, after the terror attacks in Brussels, the usual people on Twitter whose inglorious job it is to say these kind of things at times like this, started their dolorous dissonant dog whistling, saying that these attacks were the consequence of bleeding heart liberals letting terrorists pretending to be refugees into Europe, and that this wouldn't stop until we #banned all Muslims. Always keen to speak up for children in dinghies chancing their lives crossing the Mediterranean to escape a homeland on fire, something which I should add doesn't make me an amazing human being, just a sentient one, I sent out a tweet. Always good on days like this to remind everyone that the guys blowing up Brussels are the people the refugees are running away from. In 3 hours it got retweeted 10,000 times and favourited 8,000, but I also got around 200 rape and death threats from men living in their parents' basements and going by names like British and Proud 69. So, crunching the maths on that tiny experiment, I can conclude that roughly 98.9% of people are still sympathetic to refugees, and only 1.1% just want to rape or kill me. Not a hobby I can wholeheartedly recommend for either party, really, as I would rather play bananagrams, and they should really pop upstairs and help their mum get the tea ready. In Moranifesto, I've written several pieces about the ongoing refugee crisis that borders and spills into Europe. And the thing that the 1.1% of British and Proud 69s don't seem to understand is this one question. What is a refugee? What is a refugee doing when they become a refugee? When they leave Afghanistan or Syria, both increasingly strongholds for ISIS, the people that we in the West currently regard as the biggest threat to global democracy and progress, to us. Well, obviously, in the first instance, they are saving their own lives and that of their families. Obviously, they are acting with the understandable and universal desire to not die horribly or to live miserably, with shattered hospitals and schools, bombing raids and hunger. But that's not all, because they are also preventing themselves from being weaponised in the future. How many of those who cannot leave Syria or Afghanistan, who are too terrified from the journey, who don't have the money to give to people smugglers, will be coerced into joining ISIS as they take town after town? How many of their children will be forced to embrace extremist Islamic doctrine or face torture, starvation and death? How many millions of trapped people, if we keep them there trapped, will end up making ISIS more powerful, fueling its armies, serving its businesses, being raped and becoming pregnant by its soldiers, and sowing more misery in those already desperately riven countries than we can even begin to calculate? The world would be a much more merciful and sane place if we saw refugees for who they are, people who refuse to stay around and be bitten by zombies and vampires, and thus become zombies and vampires themselves. Humanity should have a special place in its heart for people who run away from wars. That is a beautiful, simple, good thing. To run away from war, to refuse to become part of the problem, to refuse to be weaponised, to want to come somewhere quiet and gentle and mild and open a corner shop or be a heart surgeon. They are coming here not to kill us, but so they themselves do not die. They are coming here because they don't agree with the guys who want to bring about the end of progress, freedom, joy, equality and the Western world. And so you see, in saving themselves, they really might, in the end, if we let them, end up saving us as well.